Hello, my name is Marty Windle and welcome to the SBL Guru podcast. What we're going to do in season 3 is something a bit different. I realize that students never read ACCA articles. They find it dull and boring to do so. So what I'm going to do in season 3 is something a bit different. I'll use AI to produce an audio version of the article. Please let me know in the comments if you find this useful and whether it will help you and make it more likely for you to read the article. Today's article is about cryptocurrency.
Welcome to the deep dive. You're here because, well, you want to get smart fast on something interesting.
And today, that something is cryptocurrencies.
Exactly. We've got some excerpts here from understanding cryptocurrencies and their impact to sort of guide us.
Yeah, and our mission really is to cut through all the noise,
Get right to the core of it. What are these things? What's their potential impact? And how do they actually work as finance?
It all kicked off with that buzz around Bitcoin, didn't it? Suddenly, fintech was everywhere.
That's right. That's really our starting point today.
It's amazing how that initial Bitcoin excitement took this pretty niche tech concept and just launched it globally.
Yeah, threw it right into the spotlight.
And honestly, for good reason. When you look under the hood, some of the ideas are genuinely revolutionary.
Okay, let's get down to brass tacks.
Yeah.
What is a cryptocurrency, like in simple terms?
Well, fundamentally, a cryptocurrency is a digital asset.
Okay, digital asset. What does that actually mean here?
It means it's basically data. Data that gives whoever holds it the right to use it or exchange it.
So it acts a bit like money, but it's just .code, no actual coins.
Precisely. No physical form at all. It lives entirely as computer code, which is quite different from, the pounds or dollars we use.
Right. I can't find a Bitcoin down the back of the sofa. So how does it differ from those traditional or fiat currencies?
The big difference is the whole system behind it. Fiat currencies, they run through central banks.
Okay.
They hold the ledger, they approve transactions, they're the authority, right? Cryptocurrencies, though, they use something called a distributed ledger.
Distributed ledger. Okay. Sounds technical. Can you break that down a bit?
Imagine a huge spreadsheet or a record book. But instead of just one bank holding the master copy,
Yeah.
there are thousands, maybe millions of identical copies,
Huh?
all spread out across a network of computers worldwide. That's the distributed bit.
Got it. So it's shared.
Exactly. And when a transaction happens, it's not one bank giving the okay. The whole network checks it. They use what's called a consensus mechanism. If enough of the network agrees it's legit,
Then it gets added.
then it gets added to all the copies of the ledger, pretty much simultaneously.
Okay, wow. So that sounds secure. I mean, instead of one place to attack.
That's the idea. The source really highlights this. To corrupt the system, you'd basically need to hack and change every single ledger copy at the same time.
Which is practically impossible.
Pretty much, yeah. An enormous challenge, technologically speaking.
Okay, so that's a huge security plus and no single boss in charge. What are the big upsides of this decentralized approach?
Well, thinking bigger picture, because they aren't tied to a specific government or central bank,
Right.
it opens up possibilities. The source mentions potentially lower currency risk,
Yeah.
especially maybe in economies where the local currency is unstable.
Interesting.
Also, avoiding bank fees, those transaction charges.
Oh, yes. Everyone hates those.
Right. And maybe making international business easier. Plus, like I said, potentially offering a more stable option in financially shaky places.
Those sound like really strong potential benefits. But there have to be downsides, right? Risks, limitations.
Oh, absolutely. And the source is very clear on this. It's still early days, largely unregulated.
And that regulation picture looks pretty messy globally.
Totally. It's a real patchwork. China, for instance, has cracked down hard, banned exchanges.
Okay.
Japan, though, is kind of the opposite. Much more progressive, even treats some crypto as legal payment.
And the U.S., UK?
The U.S. is complicated, varies state by state, no single federal approach yet. And the U.K. Well, crypto isn't legal tender, but exchanges are legal if they register with the FCA, the Financial Conduct Authority.
So it's really all over the place, depending on where you are.
Definitely. And this lack of consistent rules, plus the anonymity that comes with the technology,
It creates problems.
it creates significant risks. Yeah. The source points out accountability issues hard for law enforcement if something goes wrong.
Right.
And consumer protection is a big one. There's no deposit insurance like with a bank. If an exchange collapses or you get hacked,
Your money could just vanish.
potentially, yes. And then there's the issue of losing your keys. Your private keys are like your password. Lose them.
And the funds are gone. forever.
Likely, yes.
Yeah.
Because identification is tied to the keys, not your personal details usually.
Wow, that's quite a risk. Any others?
Well, the anonymity makes it easier for people to, try and dodge taxes. Transactions happen outside the normal banking system.
Harder to track.
Exactly. And unfortunately, that same anonymity can be exploited for illegal stuff. Money laundering, buying illicit goods.
So some serious concerns there.
Very serious. But it's interesting, despite all this, the source notes that crypto uses still growing. People are still engaging with it.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly. How about actually using them? Like, can I buy my coffee with crypto?
In theory, yes. They can work like cash for goods and services. But the reality is not many shops actually accept them yet. Widespread acceptance just isn't there.
And there's the volatility issue, right?
Big time. The price can jump up and down wildly. Makes it unreliable as a stable store of value for, day-to-day stuff. Imagine your coffee costing £3 one minute and £5 the next.
Yeah, not ideal. And they aren't legal tender most places, as you said.
Exactly. So not quite ready to replace cash.
But the source does mention some potential advantages as a means of exchange, doesn't it?
It does. Potentially faster transactions, lower costs, mainly because you cut out some of the intermediaries, the banks and payment processors.
Fewer cooks in the kitchen?
Sort of, yeah. And being decentralized might mean less risk of a single system failure causing widespread payment outages.
Okay.
But the trend, interestingly, seems to be moving away from using it for purchases.
Oh, towards what?
Towards investment. That seems to be the dominant use case right now.
Ah, okay. The investment angle. That's where all the headlines come from, isn't it? The huge gains potential.
Absolutely. That's the big draw. Remember the Bitcoin mania in 2017?
But forget.
That possibility of massive returns pulls people in. They're traded on exchanges, much like stocks.
So it opens up new investment possibilities.
Does. But, and this is a huge but, the risks are enormous for consumers.
Because of the lack of regulation.
Primarily, yes.
Yeah.
Highly volatile market. We saw the bubble burst in 2018. Lots of people lost significant money.
Ouch.
And again, that anonymity factor raises the risk of money laundering through these investment platforms.
Okay, so high risk, high reward potential. Now, the source also mentioned ICOs, initial coin offerings.
Right, ICOs. It's basically a fundraising method for new crypto projects.
How does that work?
Think of it like crowdfunding. But instead of donating, people send existing cryptocurrency like Bitcoin or Ether. And in return, they get brand new digital tokens specific to that project.
So it's a bit like an IPO, an initial public offering for stocks.
There are parallels, but also key differences. In an ICO, you have supporters, non-traditional regulated investors, buying shares.
And they get tokens, not shares.
Exactly. These tokens usually don't give you ownership in the company or project itself.
So what's their value?
Their potential value comes if the project takes off and the token becomes useful or desirable within that project's ecosystem. It's speculative.
And I'm guessing less regulated than IPOs.
Much less in most places.
Yeah.
That lack of oversight makes it, ripe for scams targeting people who might not fully understand what they're buying into.
Driven by that fear of missing out, perhaps?
Very possibly. The source actually notes that China banned ICOs back in 2017 because of these concerns.
Okay, that paints a pretty comprehensive picture. So if we were to boil it all down.
Okay, summing up, cryptocurrencies are digital assets. They run on these shared, decentralized ledgers.
Offering potential benefits like lower fees, maybe less risk in some ways.
Right, but also coming with big limitations and risks, mainly because it's all still evolving and often lacks clear rules.
And right now, the main game seems to be investment.
That's where most of the action is, yes.
Yeah.
And ICOs are this sort of new, innovative, but also pretty risky way to raise funds.
It really gives us a lot to think about, with the tech changing so fast and governments all reacting differently. It raises big questions.
Absolutely.
So for you listening in, here's something to mull over. Given this constant push and pull between crypto innovation and the need for regulation, what do you think? What are the crucial factors, maybe a specific tech development, maybe a certain kind of global rule that will ultimately decide if cryptocurrencies become truly mainstream and stable? How will that balance between progress and protection play out?
It's the key question for the future, really.
Definitely food for thought. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.
I hope that was useful. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the podcast and visit season 1, which is all about applying the SBL theories in the examination. If you need more help with your exam, get in touch with me at www.sblguru.com. And There are all the courses there that I run to help people pass ACCA. Thanks very much for listening, and don't forget to comment and tell me how you found the podcast. Good luck in your exam.